start in English, okay?
Sure, sure.
Bom dia, pessoal. Eu estou aqui no Thiago Talk Show. Hoje é um dia muito, muito especial. Eu estou muito feliz de receber esse cara que é uma referência no instrumento, no contrabaixo no mundo inteiro. Hoje eu vou bater um papo em inglês. A conversa vai ser toda em inglês, depois eu vou legendar e colocar para vocês aqui, disponível no meu canal do YouTube e do Facebook também. Se você não se inscreveu ainda, por favor, inscreva-se aqui no meu canal, aqui no YouTube, deixe seu comentário, deixe seu like. E agora eu vou bater esse papo com esse super músico que eu sou muito fã, Adrian Ferro. Thank you so much, my brother, for being part of the show. How you doing, man?
Thank you for having me, man. Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
I didn't understand what you said, but that sounded beautiful.
I was introducing you and saying that you are one of the greatest musicians I know, I met, and you're a reference for all of us. And it's a huge pleasure to have this time with you to talk about music and life. Thank you so much.
Likewise, man. You're great, man. I've always thought I think I saw you the first time like over 10 years ago. I was like, Jesus, man, where did this guy come from? I stole some stuff from you. You know that?
Oh. I did the same with you. It's okay.
Yeah. I'm glad we share things. That's cool.
Yeah. That's super, man. And Adrian, the idea of this talk show, it's a game with words. The talkie in Portuguese is play also. So, but it's not play, but it's talkie means play, but at the same time is giving someone a tip. So there's like a talk show. Then the word's similar, but we can have an idea of talking about life, give some advice for young musicians, students, talk about music. So it's like 1 hour having fun. And so I would like to start and asking you about how the bass get into your life. Was through your family?
Yeah, exactly.
Great.
I don't know if your question was done, but sorry for cutting you off. Yeah, through my dad.
Your parents are musicians?
Yeah, they were. My dad was a musician, and then he went into something else, for a living. But he kept, music as a passion always. And so growing up, there was always music in my house, and the good stuff, the Motown music and all the good rock stuff. My dad is more of a rock guy, but old school rock and roll and rhythm and blues and all the crooners and stuff like that, And he's a guitar player, and he plays bass too. He had a pretty cool collection of guitars and basses, like old Fenders, Gibsons, and stuff like that. So I was very lucky to benefit of that. But for the first 10 years of my life, I didn't really care about music. I wanted to be an actor.
Really?
Yeah. The music, I liked the music, and I was sensitive to the music, but I didn't care much for it. And one day I picked up a bass because I liked hearing what in the radio. There was a sound that I liked, and that was the bass. So that's how I started,
Great.
Yeah.
So after when you started, was 10 years old, and then you remember the first gig you got get paid when you started to be a professional. What was your age?
That would have been that pretty. I'm sure it's pretty late compared to you, but for me, that was at 16. That was my first paid gig. This is when I started being a professional. I was still at school, and then I dropped out of school because I was terrible. I was terrible at school. Not because I was of course, because then you're obsessed, you become obsessed with music, and that's all you can think about. Not that I was, not saying I'm too smart, but I wasn't dumb. But music, at school, I wasn't, I couldn't focus, and I couldn't work anymore. The programs, it wasn't made for me. So I just started being a professional. It's just started on its own. I dropped out, and my mom is not happy about it, but whatever. It worked out.
Yeah. It's funny because my parents are musicians too.
Right.
So,
yeah, I know your dad, dude. This is fucking monster.
yeah, he's
Your
awesome.
dad. Oh man, I was watching. I think a year ago I started watching your dad's video. Man, he's got some great stuff. Man, I haven't figured out his. You do some of the stuff too, man. I gotta get
Yeah,
some.
but it's unique. I'm just a lazy copy.
Oh man, you're not. No, you mixed up a lot of things, man. That's great, man. You got a amazing facility.
Yeah, but it's hard work. It's the same, always. I also quit school because I was working, playing my bass, and it's like I remember I was like 15 years old, and I asked so many musicians, "Hey, what are you using in your adult life? Things you learn on the high school?" And there was like, okay, I'm going to be a musician. Quit school because
I know.
it takes a lot of time. It's like you have to study and practice the whole day for things that you're not going to use in your adult life as a musician.
Exactly.
Basically.
Well, the problem is to pre-learn things before you need them, really. So that's at school. That's what they make you pre-learn some concepts and stuff that actually, until you go into specializing into mathematics or biology, I mean, you're not going to use really. I mean, I guess I forgot 70% of what I learned at school, man. I would have to open a book again because that's the problem. So I said, man, I didn't try to look further for now. Now it's always, if you need, you can always like pick up studies again. It's not a problem.
Yeah, I know. I'm with two kids. My daughter, the older, is 4 years old, and I just got a new one. My second daughter, she's like 2 months and a half. So now It's not the time, but in a few years, I will have to learn all the things to teach them back.
I know. I know. If when I have kids, I'm gonna have to open books again and have my shit together. I can't. Yeah. But until then, I mean, it is good to have notions of things, but you know how it is when, even in music, when people go to school for music, it doesn't guarantee you to be the best musician. I mean, it's all about how you. I mean, the best school, right? The field, the battlefield. That's what I think.
Totally agree, man. And it's fun. I have the last episode Monday. I talked with Hermeto Pascoal.
Right. Wow.
And I have a lot of fun because it's like he is 83 years old, man. So many life experiences to share with us. And one funny thing is like music is a feeling, is a sensation that we had. And you cannot learn from the paper those feelings. You learn the rules. It's like, okay, you like soccer. Okay, you get the FIFA book of all rules. So you read all the things and study, so and go to play. No, you're gonna be a good player.
no. Those are the things. It's much easier to learn on the field than to pre-learn. Pre-learn is confusing you. It's confusing. Yeah. It's too much information, and it can be scary. It's like, okay, you're gonna learn the concept as you meet the concept, and like then you meet the concept and you're stuck. Then what do you have to do? You have to understand how it works, and then eventually you do, and you stack up one by one, and then next thing you know, if you do it well because you're passionate, within a year you can have a book this thick in your mind because you met the situations where you were being stuck because you don't know. So you have to, I believe into, it's like a kid trying to tell your kid, don't do this and don't do that. Yes, of course, don't, there are things that you shouldn't do, obviously, but kids are still going to do it, and they're going to understand on their own, when they're going to burn themselves, putting their hand to the fire. It's the same thing in music. Okay, you're in a situation and you don't know what to play on F major 7 sharp 5. Oh shit. And you're and okay, then next thing you do is you go home and you learn what to play on it. Yeah. Or you ask a musician that knows what to play on it, and then you learn, and that's how I learn.
Yeah,
I guess you too.
Yeah, same thing. I remember there's a funny. It's sad, but I was sad at the time, at that moment, but was funny. I remember the day I learned the melody from Donna Lee. I was like 16 years old, and I go to the best club. Hey man, I'm playing Donna Lee, Yeah, okay, you want to play? Yeah. So I play the melody, and then the guitar player starts to solo, and I was like, hey man,
of course.
Okay, the chords. I don't know the chords.
Of course, because of course. And dude, it took me time. And that's the thing, in fact, there's a thing that's really interesting about Donna Lee. It's not just a melody, it's actually was probably a solo at first, but it's really interesting to follow, because most people they learn Donna Lee, but they don't understand what it means. It's just a melody, but it's actually segments.
Yeah.
That's 2 chords, and you follow. It's really interesting that helped me, but that's only once. I guess once I learned the modes, right? The modes and the scale. That's the only way to understand a melody, such as Donna Lee, I guess. So being mindful about that kind of stuff is not easy at first, and you don't think about it when you're a kid. It's good because you learn that melody, and somehow your technique improves from it. It's great technically. It makes you improve technically. But that's always what I say. I don't know. That's another question. Maybe you wanted to go somewhere else, but about transcribing solos. I see a lot of people transcribing, transcribing a solo that they can then reproduce, and they post it. And I want to say to this, that's cool. You can do it technically, but do you understand why this is being played? You know what I mean? It's not all about like being able to technically reproduce a solo. It's understanding why they play this, and then when I transcribe something now, I don't transcribe the whole solo. I transcribe bits.
It's just like to be or not to be. It's like it's a great line. It's just like playing something that there's. What is the meaning of this talking?
Yeah.
This meaning. Same thing. The guy's playing something like, I learned this. Okay, but I have no idea why you're saying this.
You're repeating a phrase that you don't understand. Yeah, exactly. I know, but you technically can reproduce the phrase. Yes, you can talk back like a parrot. A parrot, the bird, right?
Yeah.
But now, I mean, and as a kid, it's very important to do
pirate barrel, like it's just repeating. Yeah.
No, and the thing is, it's really important when you're a kid learning. Okay, learning technically, the physique, the muscles to learn the muscle memory. But at some point, I see people that are like 35 posting solos of John Coltrane, jazz steps. Oh, cool. Make your own solo. Do your own solo. Don't post the John Coltrane solo. Everyone can transcribe a solo. Everyone. I mean, anyone that's technically, that has technical abilities. And nowadays, you see old bass players like they can't play. Anyways, but that's another topic. We can talk about that later. I don't know if you had a.
It's okay, it's no problem. But it's very important to tell this for all the guys is watching, all people watching. We also from chat that the audience can send some message. So we got Lucas is saying the message.
Yeah, sure. No, you guys can ask some questions too.
Thanks for showing me the way. Okay, thanks, Lucas.
Thank you. I mean, yeah. Look at the.
Let me check question. Here. There's a lot of. Ok, there's a question in Portuguese if I'm going to do subtitles. Sim, eu vou legendar depois o programa para vocês. Vai estar legendado aqui no canal do YouTube.
Exactly. Yeah. I agree.
Oh, great. So, when you start to get in this jazz learning to get improve the scales, chords, you have some tips from the cats in France, the musicians. Which guys was your reference in Paris when you start to go see music live?
There was a few guys that were amazing. I don't know if you know about Jean-Pierre Como, piano player, Jean-Marie Ecaille, guitar player, and then there's really like cats that are really unknown anywhere else than France, but they're amazing musicians that somehow they stayed in France and they don't want to do much. And there was also a guitar player, young guy, Jim Grandcamp. You probably don't know him. He's just amazing. He can play. He's the kind of guy that can play rock music authentically, but he loves Brazilian music and he will play it very well too. And like authentically, he studied that, but he studied also classical pieces, and he's got the facility. So this guy was also an influence. I was playing with him at some point, but he was very, he understood a lot of things very quick. And of course, Borelli Lagrène and people, and Sylvain Luc, right? You know those guys, right?
Yeah.
Sylvain Luc, Borelli Lagrène. Borelli is
also amazing. I had the opportunity to make music with him on Music Mass.
Oh man! Right.
Unbelievable. This guy is unbelievable.
Have you heard him play bass? He plays like Jacko.
yeah, it's crazy.
Like crazy facility. So I mean, there's a lot of musician that you guys probably don't know besides the stars that we all know: Chick Corea, John Patitucci, Matt Garrison, and Jacko, and all those guys. But there's a lot of other guys from my town in Paris that, there's and it's anywhere, anyone, not only bass players. As a matter of fact, for the jazz language, if you really want to learn it, you might want to learn from piano players and sax players, because
basically,
if you want to solo, if you want to be able to solo and understand those concepts, if you pick up bass player's line, you're going to sound like that bass player. And we all did it. I did it. I picked up Matt Garrison, John Patitucci, and Scully Verison, and Jeff Berlin, Gary Willis, and Dominique Di Piazza. And then I went away. I I went away from the bass players. Because the problem is when you on bass, if you listen to Dominique Di Piazza and you play one of his phrases, you're gonna sound like Dominique Di Piazza.
Yeah,
that's inevitable. So if you want to get away from that, I would say pick up some, I don't know, Ben Webster or Coltrane or Michael Brecker, and turn that into the bass the bass. That's how you find your sound, and then you modify things on your own, right? I don't know.
I did the same thing.
Yeah. Who are your main influence in terms of language?
First, Johnny Griffin. I love it.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, Mike Brecker got influence.
Brecker also, but Herbie. I love not just the notes, but the thing I always looking for when I used to take the solos was like, for example, Joe Pass or Herbie or Oscar Peterson or Johnny Griffin was the feeling, the intention.
Yeah.
What he's thinking to do with that attitude is like, because doesn't matter. I remember the first time I heard a wrong note, a fourth note. I was like,
right.
Herbie was playing C minor 7, 9, but in the solo he was playing like D flat. So the flat 9 on a C minor 7 with 9, and he was playing the flat 9, and was like heaven for me. Like, yeah, I want to learn this, because that was whoa. But this is first thing, the rule wrong, but sound good, and it was like, whoa, what happens? So I learned, I realized that it's totally different to we work with sensation, with feeling, with what do you want to express, what do you want to, if you want to have the audience or the other musicians' attention, it's easy. Just do this. Nice different rhythm. I remember I was like 30 years old. I was playing trio. My father playing drums.
Right.
André Marques is the pianist from Hermeto Pascoal group, and I was using a 6 strings bass, and it was like was a very technique time in my life that was like it's like a V8 3.6. Fast and furious. Okay, but I remember Hermeto was watching this concert, and then he came to talk with me and say, "Hey, Thiago, when you do a solo, you have to sometimes make something crazy and a break to get the other people's attention, and then start to say something in music." And I told him, okay, I know, but I'm 30 years old, I just got here. I have to use this. I have to do this.
Of course.
For a while, and then I will balance this, because this, you practice to get a good technique for one reason. You really wanted to do, like, I never forgot the first time I saw Michael Brecker live. It was like mind blowing. Oh man, this guy was really unique. Like the energy, the sound, everything. Not just the notes, but you had. I believe you saw him live. It's like, wow.
I wish I saw it. Yeah. I know. People, and I understand what you say about technique, because I had the same problem, but that's a normal issue when you are working on technique and you need to try it somewhere. So what the next thing you do is not, it's probably not, always a good idea, but you try it on the field. And sometimes it's too much, and and whatever you're working at the moment, usually you try. That's the best way to do it, but at the same time, it's not always the best musical choice. So you might, when it happens when you're young, you have that excuse, and people forgive you, had a lot of that, but other than that, you can't go. How do you say that? You can't understand things that you can't understand yet. When I turned 30, there's a lot of things that I understood, and now I'm glad I worked on my technique, because it allows me to just play whatever is on my mind without a barrier. And now I'm trying to be more about telling a story, and but playing with dynamics, and technique is part of dynamics. So when I see people, that's funny. When you see all those people criticizing people that have technical abilities, but that doesn't make sense. I mean, except if it's overused. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's important to not be stuck. It's important to not be stuck. So people ask me about technique, how I got so fast and all that. And in fact, I found out that, first of all, it came by itself, but it came from what I transcribed. I didn't try to be fast all day, staying on one string, and I didn't do that. Or they asked me about exercises, right? There's no exercises to be fast. It's what you transcribe and what you work on. That's the main thing that people need to understand. If you transcribe a phrase from Johnny Griffin or Michael Brecker that's pretty fast, then this is your exercise. That's the exercise. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. Perfectly.
Totally. There's no exercise. You're not going to do and you can't do that. But if you do this, then you're going to be good at this. You're not going to be good at phrasing. So you might want to work on your phrasing first. This is going to improve your technique on its own. Yeah. I don't know if it's clear, but
no, clear, totally clear. And I agree. It's the process. We have to. First, I believe we must have a goal in life, in music at the same time, like and why you want to play, and then go for it. And you have to learn. Okay, learn the melody, learn the chords. Go listen to some records to see other people playing the song and get some ideas. Improvisation, the vocabulary, not just licks. You have to. Okay, you enjoyed that Michael Brecker line? Okay, so good luck. First, good luck. So you have to listen to a lot to get into the idea of where he starts, where he finishes, and how to do this. And then practice. And then I believe for me, it's basically the same. How can I do fast? So how can I use melodic minor scale? Or how can I use... Okay. I understand that there's a doubt from people. They are trying to learn and understand, but it's not about technique or melodic minor scale. It's about vocabulary. It's about what that means. It's like you don't have to understand the scale. You have to understand the chord. Because scale is just a sequence of notes that you play. But when you get that chord, I remember the first guy I realized this was listening to Joe Pass. He was using the same line with different meanings. And I was like, what happens? How he's doing this? So I realized, okay, this guy knows the chord, the harmony of music. He really understands something different. So it's the same thing with different points of view and bring different meanings to music. The same idea. So I realized that, okay, I have to practice scale, but I have to understand the chords and the triads and everything. So it's a mind blowing, but it's like freedom in music. And after that, starts to try to get your own voice, my own voice. and making the solo that I really enjoy to choose a note now. Like I remember when I was listening to, uh, you know, that record from Wayne Shorter and Herbie Hancock, 1+1.
Yeah.
And there's some notes that Wayne chooses a long note, but he's like, man, like, whoa, man, that's
And
deep. That
Wayne has another, yeah.
I want to learn to do this. This not just amazing line, but to choose one note and like pinpoint, boom, and make.
That comes with, you know, you can't always. There's a lot of musicians that promote bass players. Actually, I've seen only bass players do this, and I say something. You know, uh, I've seen very well-known bass players. I won't say any names, but like promoting instinct, which we both know that instinct is very important, but depending on your mood, you can't always trust your instinct, and you can't always be inspired. So what do you do to fix to that, you know, to make it so that no matter what,
No,
even if your mood is down to like you know, it's, you know, is down and you don't have any inspiration, if you know your tools and you know which are the scales and the modes, you can never be wrong. And if you train your brain, ears, and hands to have that phrasing that no matter what is going to be lyrical, basically you can never really sound like shit. And this is very, what I'm saying right now is really like down to, you know, how do you say that, like concrete. I'm not talking about any spiritual, any. Then the spirit comes in when you're inspired, when you combine your knowledge and your instinct and your musicality. Then this is when you hear people like, you know, Mike Brecker and Chick Corea do create magic, you know. But those guys, everything they play, it doesn't come from God, or, you know, not everything.
yeah,
They use tools. They use tools, and people have to understand this. You know, training your here, not your here, but training yourself to you know, reproduce anything you sing is cool, but that's not it. You have to understand how it works, like in terms of like very you know, how do you say, I lost the word. I'm not speaking too much of English right now. I'm in France, you know, since the lockdown, so I'm sorry, it's a little rusty. But to be very down to the ground, like very
basic,
concrete.
topic, like
Exactly. We're not talking about spirit. We're not talking about that. So, and those
conscience.
music.
It's about the. It's I believe it's like to raise your conscience. Like you play, it's not just rational, but it's like
Rational.
you have
Rational.
to.
Rational was the word. Yeah, exactly. You got to be rational. You can't say, you know, I'm learning to just be free and play what I hear. And then you see the guys like not looking at their neck and doing this, and then most of the time, 50% of the notes they play, it's not right. And you know, they're gonna say, and so what? You know, you can turn your mistake into music. Come on, man. No, yes, but not always. you, you got to know what to play on the 13th chord, okay? If you want to play Teen Town properly and you want to solo over Teen Town, C13, A13, F13, and D13, you know, you got to know that there's only one scale that matches those chords perfectly, each one of them. That's the basic of jazz, okay? If you play a C13 chord, guys, I'm not trying to be no, I'm not trying to be a Nazi, but C13 or C7 sharp 11, you play G melodic minor, period. That's the only scale that matches perfectly this chord, okay? And then
I agree.
eventually maybe you can play diminished, or you can, if you know how to do it well, because you studied that too. But that's what I mean. If you want to be right, and you want to respect the music and the chords, well, chords and scales, that's the same thing. It's not like separated, right?
Yeah.
A chord is only notes of a scale played at the same time. That's a chord, but then you can separate.
It's the same thing. It's the same fragments,
right? So when people say, "What do I play on a, C half diminished? What do I play on it?" Well, okay, what's your chord? Break down the chord. What are the notes in it? And then you connect the dots, and you hear all the common sense, and then you find the scale, and you find that what is it? It's the 6th degree of a melodic minor. Wow, that's you right, the 6th degree, I think. Yes, I think it is. Right, and major 7 sharp 5 chord, 3rd degree of melodic minor. It's all the same thing, and this, I'm self-taught. I never went to school, but if you break down things, So, anyways, man,
I did the same, but I realized that every scale you have 7 triads from each note, and you build the chord from the triads. That is the arpeggio, tonic, 3rd, 5th, 7th, 9th, 11th, 13th, and then I wrote on a Excel plan sheet that all the triads for 12 keys: major, melodic minor, harmonic minor, and harmonic major.
Uh-huh.
Like, okay, so it was like, oh, mind blowing the first time, but now it's easier to play because you can play triad, you can play scale, you can play the arpeggio, but you really understand, and it's easier to choose the note. I remember I was telling you that when I was 20, now I'm 40. Like 10 years later, it's like, oh, so different. I wish I had 20 years, but with the way I think and I see life and music now. But that's
of course.
But the thing about all this is like to balance that you would say that. I remember the first time I had to put this on in my life, to use this in my life, was like I had a family issue, and I had a concert, and was like wasn't happy, but I had to use all my knowledge, play music with the knowledge, not with the heart. And it was okay. Well, audience was like, "Oh, sounds great," and it was okay. But it's okay. That's the reason we practice. But nowadays, that's not what I'm looking for. Is like I believe music for me is not. I had two ways. Is the quantitative or qualitative ways. Choose quality than quantity. I think quality is more important, and we have less things to do, but better things to do. Better days, better music, with better friends and better musicians too. It's here. That's some message. Just there's a guy. He's a crazy. He's my friend. I love this guy, Michael Pipoquinha.
Oh, I don't know this guy.
Yeah, he's super.
I've never heard of this guy.
He's saying, "Oh, amazing, awesome talk, great."
How are you, bro? How are you been? This man, this is Michael Pipoquinha is probably the most talented young bass player that I know, because everything he plays is always musical, but he also respects the music, and he plays the right stuff on the chords. Yeah. But it doesn't come from this. It comes from, he's got very amazing like facility for that, you know. But always, dude, I was thinking, and I think Scott Bass Lesson did a video on that, man. You guys in Brazil that's the country of bass players. I mean, of music in general, but I've never seen a country with, you know, that many amazing bassists like that know music. It's the thing. It's like bass players know about music. And I wish that happened more in other countries, but it's coming, you know. And so, yeah. Anyways, man. Michael Pipoquinha, man. This kid makes me practice.
Both of us. Gustavo is sending a message here. Great advice from Adrian. Learn to have real conscience of what you play is the most truthful thing to have a honest and precise music communication. Congrats for both of you, masters of improvisation. Oh, great.
Thank you. Well, let me read it again. Great advice from Adrian. Learn to have. Sorry about this. I need to look. Third. Thank you, man. Yeah. Well, that's what you said, man. You gotta bring the rational and the spiritual, but the rational always has to be as a safety net underneath your spiritual. That's my point. You know, and this is how you call some people consistent. You call Michael Brecker and Herbie and Chick Corea consistent because no matter what they play and no matter what they might go through in life, they never sound like shit. Why? The safety net of knowledge.
Yeah.
You know?
And at the same time, Chick still practicing. Chick still doing practicing every day. And he goes, I remember it was like a couple years ago or 1 year ago, was Chick started doing some lives. So he had a keyboard on his hotel room and started.
Yeah.
I was like, that's perfect.
I remember he had, when I was playing with him, he always required, he was practicing before every show. He had a keyboard in his room, keyboard in the green room. Yeah, man. I should probably do that.
That makes the difference. It's like, but it's funny because I remember what was back in the 80s was a jazz festival in Brazil, and then Joe Pass came to play on this festival, and one of the musicians was on the same hotel and go to breakfast like 9 a.m. So it was
right.
All musicians and artists having breakfast. So he go to his room and okay, I'm going to the swimming pool now. 10:30. Okay, Joe Pass was his was on next door and he was listening to his 10:30. He came back from swimming pool like noon. So what? So took a shower. Okay, let's go have some lunch, like 1:30 p.m. He came back 3 p.m. Was like from 10 p.m. through 3 p.m. he was practicing. So the concert 9 p.m. was like, okay, we're gonna play. Man, it was like,
of course,
yeah, the same thing. But there's hard work. People look like, oh, for how long do you practice? How many times you practice? Okay,
I don't know. It's spread out throughout the day sometimes, yes, but
when you have time, you play. It's like.
And you know that's funny because I have another approach. I found that another approach works for me at least. I'll just warm up the body, okay, like the hands.
Yeah.
But I don't practice before a gig because I find that I have better ideas and also, you know, when you play, that there has to be that concept of surprising yourself a little bit, which sometimes, you know, doesn't happen quite often after a while.
Mm-hmm.
If I practice too much before a concert, I already have too much of my playing in my own ears, so it bothers me. It's like I want my playing to sound fresher to my ear, so I don't do too much of it before a gig. I don't know if that makes sense.
Totally.
I
Yes.
know you do that too, but I just warm up the hands.
Actually,
Sometimes
yeah, it's basically I teach a lot, so I have to play and show examples, but not to practice. And when I practice, I don't practice the bass. I practice guitar. I love to play guitar. So at the
right.
same, I go to different thinking, different technique also, playing with the pick. So but it's good because I'm more trying to play with the chords, different ideas with chords. But when I go to the bass, I have the technique, but I'm thinking about chords. So it brings me to different places and different ideas. And
Yeah, I know you can play guitar great, man.
and it's fun because you feel it's all about depends with who you're playing.
Yeah.
It's like if you're playing with Chick Corea, it's a different comping, a different voicing than Scott Kinsey, and both are awesome.
Oh man.
Yeah,
You
actually, congrats, man. That album is like amazing, mind blowing.
Oh,
I remember I sent it to you a message on Instagram. It's like, thank you, man. Great music.
that was fun. That, you know, it's it's a little technical in some parts, you know, that, you know, but it's funny, man. I remember when I played with Chick, you know, there was you know, we played live, and there was a couple songs where when I had to trade solos with him. Oh man, and everything he played was, I wanted to just not play behind him. Like, it's impossible, you know. It's like anything he plays, man, it's like it's a school on itself, you know. I don't know how to explain. I wish I did this gig now that I know more than at the time, but that was crazy. And yeah, this is what, you know, pushed me to practice more, and you know, be about that concept of I know, I don't know if Chick, he didn't practice right before the gig, you know, to remain fresh. I think we spoke about that one day too. You know, he was just warming up a little bit at some point, but he wasn't playing too much before the gig because of that. But man, the lines that he pulled out, man, was kind of crazy. But anyways, yeah, I saw some of your videos with Hamilton de Holanda.
Yeah.
Man, you sound amazing on that. You sound so great. Like your fretless playing, I love it. You know, I love how you sing on it. Not many people know how to actually handle fretless.
Yeah, it's hard work, but it's.
Oh man, beautiful voice on that. What? How old were you when you started bass in general?
I was like, my father is a bass player, so it was the last instrument I tried to play. I was trying guitar, drum in school, and then I go to guitar, and then okay, I only play bass. I was 13 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you play guitar. You play guitar amazing too. I've seen that. I see. Actually, I saw you play with your dad on YouTube. I saw some videos. You play some guitar with him. That was great. Yeah, man. So, hey, yeah. I play drums and bass, but I try to master my stuff. You know, I don't play a whole bunch of instruments. Maybe I'll start.
Yeah, actually, the reason I practice, I play piano, I play drums, I play percussion, guitar, acoustic, and electric to improve my knowledge in music. I believe it's not to understand. I remember saw you talking about you was announcing a Q&A on your Facebook page to talk about the important how important was to know the bass part and to know how to be a bass player, not just to be technique, like how to make a nice groove, nice the
Yeah, I
size,
know the
and this. That's the hard part as a bass player. It's just always people ask about technique and improvising, but okay, let's talk about producing as a bass player and making bass parts, bass line great.
Well, thanks. The thing is, the most important thing is, as a groove player, when you want to be mainly a groove bass player, the importance of knowing your modes and scales is as important than if you want to be a soloist, because that's your best way to understand what's going on harmonically.
No.
If you have that knowledge, not only you can understand what's happening harmonically, but also you respect, when you're creating a bass line, you respect the chords too, and your bass lines are only going to improve. I mean, then that's about taste, obviously. Your ability to choose tasteful bass lines and notes, no choice. But if you don't know what to play on a half diminished chord and you play a natural fifth, it sounds wrong. You got to know those details.
Or C minor and play the E. It's like
You say E minor and play
C minor and play the E, like bemol.
Yeah, exactly. Because this is C minor and you play an E. This is what bass players do, but this is not the music. This is just the default of the instrument. I don't know how to explain that, but bass players have, they have all kinds of like bad reflexes.
Yeah,
they do that. On any chord, you hear a bass player,
to get a lower note. It's like a reflex that as like a shape, like bang.
Yeah, or they do, they have that bad like it's all fingers. It's bad finger reflexes when they do, ba-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-ba-da-da. You can't do that on a major 7. Ba-da-da. You do that on a Mixolydian chord, and there's all kinds of little details you hear, and even from bass players that are really well known sometimes, it's pretty surprising. And right now I'm talking about details, like I'm being anal, and people will say, dude, who cares, man? No one hears this. Well, guess what, man? If you call yourself a musician and you love music, care about the details, because this is where God lies, I mean, I'm not religious, but God's in the detail. If you respect music, you have to pay attention, and this is what is going to make the difference between someone that is great and someone that is good.
Yeah.
And this is why Michael Brecker was amazing, because when you break down his line, you slow down every detail. There's no notes that, it's like there's no note that is there randomly. So I'm just saying, as a bass player, comping, know your modes and scales. This is only going to make you a better musician. And also, do you love music, or do you do that for fun? It's like, I love music, and because I love music, I have great fun playing it, but I want to respect it. That's my concept.
You agree, man.
And I see that yours too.
Yeah, man. The interesting thing I do, I always bring analogies on life, on different life experience to connect with music examples, because we can see music, we cannot see music, we cannot touch music, we just can feel it by ear, by listening to music. So
exactly,
the way I see it, like, it's fun. The music could be down or up, okay, funnel like this. So you get the audience, you get the amateur musicians, the regular musicians and the professional musicians. And when you get
Exactly.
on that small place on the funnel, there's the guys, the cats, the genius. There's the guy who get really this unique way to treat music and to express and play music, like Mike Brecker, Herbie. For me, Gary Willis is a guy that is the bass master. He
Oh
knows.
man.
I remember the first time I saw Gary. I was like 16 years old, a Tribal Tech concert here in São Paulo, and I didn't have any idea who was Gary Willis or Tribal Tech. Was the first time I heard him was live, and like I was on the first seat on the theater. Gary was like a meter from me. I saw the concert. I go home and like I'm gonna do a barbecue with my bass. I'm gonna put in the fire, and I'm gonna. The only way, the first time I decided, okay, I'm gonna quit. So I bought the ticket for the second concert, and it was like mind blowing because he can play all the chords and all the grooves, and it's like I
Yeah.
was amazed. And
Yeah. And tastefully, it's. I mean, taste. You can't learn taste. Unfortunately, that you can't learn taste.
yeah,
You cannot learn. You have it or you don't. But at least you can learn the tools. Um, I remember I think the musicians that shocked me the most and gave me, that inspiration to, the bar that I wanted to reach was probably Sylvan Luke and Borelli on guitar. And the things they would do on the spot, I was like, Jesus, I will never be able to do this.
Yeah.
But I'm going to learn what they're using.
Yeah.
And eventually then your taste sort of like increases because the more music you absorb, it can increase a little bit. But
Yeah. Sylvain is amazing, really amazing. Have you been playing with him?
a little bit, yeah. We recorded an album 2 years ago. It's just, it still hasn't been released, but it will, because they're looking for a label. And man, it just freaking amazing. It's The guy can play literally anything he hears on the spot. He can play a whole song with exactly, he was trying to remember a very well-known pop song. I don't remember which it was, but he probably Earth, Wind, Fire, and he pulls the melody and the chords exactly, out of his memory. He didn't practice it, but then he pulled the song first, and then he said, yeah, we should probably maybe try to reharmonize it, reharmonize it a little bit. And then he starts reharmonizing on the spot, which,
Yeah.
which you or me, I mean, and I'm sure, man, I heard you do stuff out of your ear too. You're amazing at that. But I was amazed that it sounded like he rehearsed it, but he didn't.
Natural.
He was
Natural.
he
Yeah.
was just reharmonizing like right away out of his. It's just, I mean, that fascinates me, and I will never be able to reach that level because this is spiritual. Like there's some people that are touched by that,
Yeah.
So I can only try to at least be accurate in what I play, But anyways, man, we should play together someday, man. We should try to do something.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna do. Let's let's work on this. It will be
Have you been
good
have you been
pleasure
gigging?
to make
Have
music.
you
together.
say it again, sorry.
It will be a huge pleasure to make music together with you. We're gonna get fun.
That's what I say all the time. I don't typically like to play with bass players because sadly, and this is not, I'm not trying to be, discriminative or arrogant, but bass players, they don't do too much work of being a better musician most of the time. And you're an amazing musician, so I would play with you because of that. We play the same instrument, but you're a musician,
Yeah, we're gonna play music.
Sometimes say it again.
We're gonna play
No,
music. Yeah,
no,
yeah.
we music, and most of the time bass players ask me to play with them, but it's like sometimes, and I'm not saying, dude, I worked a lot, and I don't want to play with someone that didn't work as much because it's good. You're gonna hear it. It's like, I'm trying to talk to you at a level that you can't respond to me. So the discussion is over very quick. And it's not because I'm superior mentally, it's just because I worked more than you.
Yeah.
So will you please do your homework?
Yeah.
I'm kidding, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, but
don't put the work in.
the funny, it's funny, but it's pretty much, man, the same thing. People thinking like okay, but in US it's different, in France it's different, in Asia it's different. No, it's pretty much the same thing, the same 12 notes, the same rhythm, and the same work. But you have to work what? Your perception, the way you see music, the way you feel music to get the right message from your brain to your hands, and the right feeling, the right to build the memory, to build the music. That this is an instrument. Yes, it's an instrument. Okay, I have to use as an instrument because
Right.
the music is inside my mind. Is inside my is with my that's my speech. What do you want to
That's
say?
just it's
So
just a
I
yeah.
totally understand when you get. I don't play with bass players. Actually, I play with people. Kenyan. He's my friend, but there's it's fun because it's to people know here. It's the first time I'm talking with Hadrian for like more than 5 minutes. I remember when
I
we
know.
met, when we
I
met
know,
in
man.
like 13 years ago in Germany, but it was like fast. We were oh, he's back.
I think it's
Okay, it's okay.
can you see me?
And I remember we have a quick chat, but a lot of respect. It was fast. And then now we were talking.
You said about like 13 years ago and we met? No.
Yeah, yeah, on the music mess.
We met?
Yes,
Jesus.
yeah, we was playing. He was playing on Mark bass. I was playing on AER amps.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Man, I was pretty sure I never met you, but I discovered you over 10 years ago on YouTube, and I said, "Who is this dude, man? He's like, wow." But I never knew I met you.
yeah. I remember we talked quick for like a few minutes, and it was the same year I met Federico. Funny guy.
Yeah, man, Federico, man, he's another musician. He's
Yeah,
another really, really great musician. And
great
there's
music.
that Russian, Anton Davidians, also Russian. And there's this guy from lives in New York, from Israel, Timur Fel. Those guys they use bass to do music, but they're musicians first, and then they happen to play bass. That's what I mean. It's like you took a bass. Bass is an accident, but you make music on it. Uh, I don't know if yeah, that's what I mean. I'm really against. Yeah, but those guys don't sound like bass players. What is sounding like a bass player? What does it mean? Try to try to figure this one out. What do you mean? Oh, because you pop a string you sound like a bass player now.
Yeah,
Really? I
yeah,
mean,
totally. There's,
that's all I mean.
there's a question
Say
I
it
do to everyone on the show, all my guests here, and I would like to ask you, what is the most gratifying thing in music for you?
the most gratifying thing is when when the climax in playing a song, and that we all come together. It's like sex a little bit. That's what. uh, I don't know if that was the exact question, but the most gratifying, it's like when Well, first of all, it takes everyone listening to each other. But when you feel it coming, when the music is, it feels good because everyone's on the same page, and you trust. You trust your friend that's playing keyboard. You trust your friends playing the drums because you guys are, we're all, we exactly go the same. We're headed towards the same direction. That feels the best, right?
Yeah.
This is the best feeling ever. This is the best feeling. Just for that, this is why I do music. Not to be a millionaire. However, if you want to be a millionaire, this concept doesn't matter, right?
Actually, I'm in music just for the money.
However, when I grew up, you know what? When I grew up thinking, because adults were telling me, you know what, Adrian, if you're good at what you do, you're never going to be out of work and you're going to make money, man. Well, yeah. It's true and not. True and not true. But anyways, that's 2020 now, so we gotta be our own managers. We gotta be our own producers. We gotta be our own businessmen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's another other thing. But anyways, man, what is it for you? What's the most gratifying thing for you? I'm interested in knowing.
It's like, I believe there's a line that people say the sky's the limit, but that's a huge lie. Because if you go up, and you're gonna pass the sky and you go to the universe, and that's music. It's unlimited. Music can take you to Mars, to Venus. It's like, just go for it. So there's the possibilities of connect with people, of connect with musicians, with reason and with emotion, and with like it's a lot of, when you have some friends and some musicians and some people that understand that you don't have to, that's the only, it's a language, music. So
it is.
I don't speak French, you don't speak Portuguese. If you did not speak English, and me neither, we speak music. We could
play and understand each other.
And yeah, so that's it's an honor to speak this language, to understand the vocabulary of music, the notes, the rhythms, and to share music, and to, it's like, it's unique. I cannot explain the feeling, and it's like there's a lyric from a samba that I recorded on my first album. There, no poetry can define, can tell the pleasure that musician can feel. The only people who knows is the musician. Something like this.
That's true. No, this is true. It's you can, and that's the other gratifying part. This is on a deeper level, of course, to say that music is the universal language, and there's no segregation and race or any. This is just the language that no matter where you come from, you can play your music, and I can add my thing to it, or vice versa. It's and it makes. It makes something, it works no matter what. It works. Even if you play, I don't know, you can mix up every genre. It's always going to sort of work, right?
Yeah, right.
From any country, you can play with a Mongolian musician that's playing traditional, someone is going to have to give. So, and you can add to that. I'm sure like Keith Jarrett or Chick Corea could play with a traditional musicians from Guatemala or, whatever, but it works. You can always make it work no matter what, this is the beautiful part about it. And I didn't mention it because to me, it's so evident, So, yeah, man.
I have one last question, man. That is like, you have any tip for the younger musicians who are looking for a living to make their lives as a musician?
That's the $1 million question. I think you get it. You get this question all the time, and I don't really have an answer for it. But you have to do what you love. But then, if you're gonna do what you love, do it well, and don't half-ass the work that you have to provide for it. Whatever you're gonna do, try to master your craft. What is it? Whatever it's, and actually, you're not even supposed to even think of mastering your craft, because when you're passionate, that means that that obsession comes in. Every great musician I know have been obsessed with music. Like obsessed, I mean, that's all you think about all day. You're obsessed with it. You're obsessional, and this is how you reach some levels. But now you don't have to be that. If you want to do music for fun, then do it. It's also, I would say now more rationally, if you want to make a living, be versatile. Know how to play, as if that is if you want to be a sideman. Now, if you really have a vocation to only be an artist, all you have to do is try and try and try until you break through. And now, with the, today's, nowadays media, you can promote yourself. What else can I do? Just be about, be genuine and true to yourself, and people will see it.
Yeah.
No, there's so many things. I can't even tell you what exactly you have to do, because it depends what you want to do. If you want to be a sideman, if you want to play for the most people, you be versatile. And also, there's a mistake you shouldn't commit. This is very concrete, and I'm going to talk about a little bit about me, and probably you encountered that. Being a virtuoso, watch out with that. You can be one, but you better go hidden first. You might not want to show all of your abilities first, because you can't avoid it, but people are going to be intimidated, and they're going to assume things, that you're going to jump to conclusions, and you can't win that fight. You can try to explain to people, and even when they're set because of what they saw first, the first impression is the impression that's going to stick all the time. So no matter how you try to show otherwise, after that, you're fucked, in fact. So if you want to be a working musician as a sideman, for example, because if you want to be an artist right away, it doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want, whatever you want. As a sideman, if you want to move to LA, for example, or if you want to move to any bigger town, don't show everything you can do right away. Don't be candid. Some people are not going to like that, and some people are going to like it, but then they're going to put you in a box right away. And only the people that are your level understand that.
That's okay.
I mean, it's not always the case, but most virtuosos, they're not that versatile. This is true. This is a fact. However, some of them are. But because they're impressive, people are going to come to the conclusion that they aren't, and that what they want to do is what happened to me sometimes is I would show up at a jam session. I start playing a song, and I'm doing my job as a bass player at first. People, no one is being dissatisfied with me. Definitely, I'm doing my job as a bass player, and people are feeling it. But that's because I think I'm a pretty decent bass player, because I love being a bass player. As soon the second the second that I take a solo, all that I played before as a bass player is gone out the window. It doesn't matter anymore. I'm that guy. Oh, oh, so dude, oh wow, man, that solo was amazing, man. Oh wow, that solo, and then this is all, and that's all. I'm fucked. The next day, I go to that jam session. People introduce me as, and now we got we got an amazing bass player here that's gonna start the song with a solo. Can you do that, Hadrian? And I'm like, no, wait. I'm trying to be a bass player here. I'm not trying to start the song, or I'm not trying to take a solo. I'll take a solo for sure. And then that was it. I'm that guy. However, my bass line was probably better. No, I tell you straight up, I don't care. My bass line was far better than most guys that it's a specialty. Like, in terms of notes, and even I'll tell you in terms of quantity of notes, you see those guys sometimes they're not soloists. So what they do, they play a lot of notes in the comping as a bass player,
Yeah,
to make up for it. You know what I mean? Okay, so now enough about me. What I'm saying is, if you have a lot of abilities, don't show it right away until maybe you get a little name, and then now you have more freedom to do whatever you want. But that's a fight you can't win. Being a virtuoso is sort of a, we're sort of a, special cats. It's like we're put in a box. We're like, we're made fun of sometimes. We're even made fun of by people that are not virtuosos. It's like, it's like the circus, right?
Yeah.
So
totally.
I have a lot of friends, drummers, same thing, that I won't say any names, but those guys, those great drummers, they have amazing pocket, but because they have a lot of abilities, people are going to assume that they can't be a sideman. I mean, some of them, they have a hard time being a sideman, but that's the problem too. It's very tricky it's a very tricky subject because some people are not making any effort to to see the music as a producer. Okay, that's the part that's the most. When you have a lot of abilities, the problem is you hear a lot of things as the music goes, and you're tempted to do it. And that's when you have to sort of like restrain yourself a little bit, and this came when I was around 28, 30 years old. I started thinking music like a producer when I'm playing. Knowing what's your spot, what's your place in the music. If you're the bass player, you got to act the part, musically the part.
Perfect. Yes.
That's it. But then now, if you're new to town, do not show that you're amazing at soloing as a bass player. If you're a keyboard player, if you're a sax player, now you can show you're amazing at soloing. But not as a drummer, not as a bass player. If you're a guitar player, that's fine, because that's your job a little bit, There are just things that people are not, they don't fathom. They don't, it doesn't resonate with them. So that's my advice to young musician moving to a new town to find work. I was lucky because I already had a name, so I had great gigs and shit. But there's still some gigs that people still think that I'm not the right fit for it.
You're not a groove bass player,
Yeah, they think I'm not a groove bass player, but the first thing I ever was is actually a bass player, because I started bass because of bass, not because of soloing. Soloing on bass came way after I found out that, yes, wow, you can also take a solo on bass, and if you practice enough, you can even be good at it.
Yeah.
But the first and foremost thing that I liked about bass is the role of the bass. Is when I would hear any song, Earth, Wind and Fire, All in Notes, you name it, the bass was what I wanted to play. And all the soloing and the the other fancy shit came afterwards. But now I understand, like I said, now I understand the importance of knowing your theory as a bassist.
Yeah,
you can't skip that.
And then it's crazy because people needs to label. They really need deep inside their hearts to label. No, you are a virtuoso. You are a jazz musician. You don't play pop. You're a jazz musician. Excuse me, I'm a musician. I play samba. I play funk. I play all Brazilian folk styles. I play. No, you're a jazz musician because you do solos. Great solos, but you're a jazz musician.
Because you take a solo and no harmony, you're jazz music. No, wait a second. Before jazz, there was classical music, and as far as I'm concerned, classical music is all about harmony and melody. But harmony is a big part of it. How you're gonna not know about harmony if you call yourself a musician? Doesn't make sense. And by knowing harmony, by default, you know how to solo and what to play on chords. And then that's another topic, man. I don't know if we have time, but
no, it's okay. It's okay. But it's good to talk about this because it's a part. That's what's behind the scenes at the same time behind music that you have to work in your mind, these thoughts to understand, because we get related with people that that respect your art, your music, and respect you as a human being. And at the same time, you're gonna deal with people that just saw you on YouTube or heard about you and are amazed with your playing and want to know what you're doing. And there's other people that look to you as a not an enemy, but some guy that could get his gig. So he's like, oh, I know him. He's a jazz musician. I know him. Do one new gig. It's okay. So many different kind of people, but it's everywhere. There's some following like this: Paris, LA, New York. But every place we got great people, great musicians, people who are looking forward to make music and to be a better person, to play a better music, and to do something new. What I'm pursuing, my goal now. I learned this line from Duke Ellington, and I bring this knowledge, this idea for my life. That he was doing an interview, and the reporter he asked, "Hey Duke, you composed so many great jazz standards. Which song you prefer from all your songs?" And he said, "The next one, baby."
It's exactly what I feel like. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You said something about vision, and that's exactly what I think. You have to have a clear vision of what you want to be in the future, how you view yourself, and what you want to sound like.
Yeah.
You have to have a clear vision of that. So when people tell me, man, I don't know what to practice, it doesn't make any sense to me because I never had that issue. I guess you never had it too. I don't know what to practice. Wait, you know what you're missing in your playing. So work on that, and ask the questions. What do I need to do? Well, you connect the dots, on your own if you have a little common sense, But yeah, the vision of how you see yourself and the goal is very important. That's I guess that is. I guess.
It's hard because the one thing I learned that you have to understand. You will never teach someone show someone the way you see the life, the experience, the reality, your feeling and your knowledge. I'm trying to get the better way to tell you this, but it's like to expand your mind so you get a different way to see the world. And if you try to
Right.
explain this for someone that never have any kind of this experience, he will never get it. The point
No.
in music is the same thing. If those
It's the same.
musicians are playing by the book, by the rules, or by the gig format, by the market, he will never understand that you can do a solo and you can do a groove and you can play different kinds of music and being a nice guy.
Oh yeah, well, yeah. There's also, man. I found this is very rational. What I'm going to say about being nice. Uh, I very rarely saw any musician that was a master at their craft that was an asshole. The only people that I've seen criticize and being a little bit snooty are the people that are not that great musically, or even as artists, or even at any field. Actually, it's the more you know, and somehow the more you realize what there is, what the road to how do you say, the more you know, and the more you realize how much more you have to go. It's like, I don't know how to explain that. I might have been cockier when I was 22, when I knew way less back then. I may have been a little more cockier, and the more I got to know, and the more humble I became.
Mhm.
Same thing with fighting. You see a lot of like bouncers that are pretty cocky, and you find out that obviously they're not training in martial arts,
Mhm.
because the more the higher you get, and the more you realize the the stakes, not the steak, but the stakes. How do you
Yeah,
explain
yeah.
that? Uh, so this is how I view, and this is why people like Chick, and I keep saying those names, I know, guys, but you know any legend that I've worked with, John McLaughlin, Chick, Jean-Luc Ponty, and none of those guys they're all great human beings. Like, they know what they're worth, they know their value, but they don't have an attitude, you know and that's it. So
They don't have
whenever
to
you
prove anything to no one as a human
huh?
being, right?
Say it again.
They don't have to prove anything to people as a human being. It's like, okay, that's me. I'm
That's me. and
pretty
and
glad
in
I
fact,
do my music. It's like,
remember that music, you're not going to the moon. It's like, I mean, you're going to the moon, but like technically you're not like saving kids in third world countries, or you're not a doctor that travels to save lives and stuff. Like, you can save life to an extent, but let's put things at their place. It's
yeah,
like, hey man, you're a musician, artist. If Elon Musk is not acting up, I think it's not because you know a couple licks that you're going to start acting up. Like, what is it?
hmm
Uh, you know, and uh, and I think that if if you start having an attitude, get that checked, because you're probably not that great, or you probably have a lot of things to learn. Now, if someone attacks you and has an attitude, you can answer. It doesn't make you an asshole, but just, hey, someone tried to teach you a lesson, someone that actually doesn't really quite know, you can answer them. And a lot of people have said, some people have said, oh, Hadrian is not really nice. I mean, I went and asked him a question, and then I said something to him, and he answered me with an attitude. No, it's not that. No, there's a time and place to do so. And first of all, it's how you approach people and what you say. And people don't realize that, also it's what you say
hmm
to people that's going to determine their reaction. But
yeah, it's crazy.
I don't know why we talk about that. But yeah, I mean that my advice, the last advice to young musicians is, when you think you know, that you probably don't know, you probably don't know as much as you think you do. So just watch out. Don't get too cocky.
Yeah. Perfect.
Because karma is, and the lesson is going to be, karma is coming for you. I've seen it too many times, for me included. So anyways, man.
I saw this movie.
You saw this movie, right? Yeah. Oh yeah, man. Yeah.
But it's a great, that's learning for everyone. Life experiences. The beauty of life is like, it's sad when you saw a dude like 40, in my age, 40 years old, trying to be cocky, like,
what did you learn? Yeah, what did you learn from life?
Like, but it's okay. Like, the most important is like, when I say about being a good person, it's not about with others. I have to be a good person with myself, with my choices, with my thoughts, with my body, with my music. With the world outside home, okay, let's see. I have to balance, but with myself, I have to do the best for me and for my family and for myself, especially because it's the only way I found to keep improving and to keep growing. Alô, travou. Moçada, travou aqui. Vamos ver se volta a conexão. Que alegria bater esse papo aqui, gente. Pô, muito bom. Deixa eu atualizar aqui, vamos ver o que está acontecendo. Eu voltei, ó. Aí, moçada, vamos ver aqui, ver se ele volta aqui. Mas, moçada, que alegria, viu? Como é bom falar com o Adrian aqui. Papo muito, muito agradável. Não sei se acabou a bateria dele ou não. Ficou com essa cara aí que ele estava no celular, pelo jeito. Mas, enfim, muito, muito bacana essa live hoje que rolou aqui. Vou esperar ver se ele volta aqui. Ver o que acontece. Vou ficar aqui online, vou até mandar uma mensagem. Mas muito, muito bom mesmo. Muito bacana, assim, poder falar de música e fico feliz de ter essa oportunidade, né? De ter esse registro que vai ficar aqui. Depois eu vou legendar para o canal do YouTube aqui, para a galera que não fala inglês, para vocês terem acesso aqui. Então, moçada, aproveitando, se você não curtiu ainda o meu canal do YouTube, dá essa moral para mim, vai lá na minha página do YouTube, se inscreve no canal, ativa as notificações, deixa o like no vídeo, tem um monte de vídeo bacana, deixa o seu comentário, deixa eu mandar uma mensagem para ele aqui, para ver se ele vai voltar aqui. Deixa eu ver aqui. E isso é muito legal, assim, poder passar esse tempo aqui falando de música e vida. E uma coisa muito legal, que eu estava quase encerrando a live também. Vamos ver se ele consegue voltar. Mas a parte que eu acho muito legal, moçada, é o seguinte. Tem muita pergunta que a galera faz sobre escala, sobre improvisação, isso e aquilo. E você vai sacar que isso daí você vai estudar em casa, assim. Mas quando você senta para falar de música, pelo menos as experiências que eu tive, assim, de sentar e conversar, sempre são assim, de você falar de vida, falar de ser humano, falar do que você está buscando e o que você está fazendo para aprender, faz muito mais diferença, é muito mais significante, né? E ajuda muito mais a evoluir. Esse tipo de papo do que você fazer simplesmente o cara falar, toca o dedo 1 na casa 2, enfim, passar uma digitação, uma frase. Acho que o aprendizado na vida ele é muito maior do que o aprendizado só na música. Gente, não acho que sambou aqui. Não, voltou. Ah, garoto. He's back. I can hear you. Maybe the mic. No. Wait. Audio. Okay. Can you hear me? Try to just a second. I will reload my page, but I'll get back. 1 second. Hey, can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you. Please try to reconnect. Yeah. No, yeah, I can hear you, but no, I don't have your sound here. It's muted. Yeah, no, doesn't work. Ok. Então ele tá voltando aí, moçada. E aqui a galera aqui, ó. Tiago, meu xará, ó, treinando o ouvido, aprendendo com tanta genialidade. Legal. O Helder tá sempre junto aqui nas lives. Pô, que legal, Helder. Obrigado. Ricardo também, poxa, que legal, cara. Maurício mandou uma mensagem aqui. Tiagueira, linda live. O ano passado eu havia indicado seu curso de percepção musical, iniciado o curso, e queria saber se tem uma continuação, se tem alguma plataforma online. Sim, o Mentoria Musical está no ar, moçada. Quem quiser estudar comigo, tem lá o site mentoriamusical.com.br. E, para fazer uma divulgação aqui também, nesse sábado vai rolar o TS Bass Day, Thiago Espírito Santo Bass Day online. Tem esse site que está aqui embaixo na tela, onde você pode se inscrever para o evento. Vai ser a primeira edição com Marcelo Mariano, Júnior Braguinha, Felipe Andreoli, Arismar do Espírito Santo e eu. São vagas limitadas e vai ser uma maravilha esse evento. Estou muito feliz, das 10 da manhã às 8 da noite. Então, corre lá, o ingresso está com 50% de desconto para o Bass Day. E a segunda edição eu já fechei o time e eu vou anunciar sábado, lá no evento. Também vai ser show de bola. Estou muito animado, muito feliz mesmo. E temos que produzir, moçada. Temos que fazer coisa boa. A vida é para frente, né? Que legal. Marcelão Góes, meu parceiro, que legal, cara. Pô, obrigado. Que legal que curtiu a live aí. Ele deve estar reconectando ele deve estar chegando aí. E já vamos meio que encerrar, mas, cara, como é bom aqui, pô, Gustavão, obrigado, cara. Super músico, guitarrista da pesada, parceirão. Que legal, só tenho a agradecer aí, obrigado por ter participado. Eu acabei não botando muito aqui o comentário da galera aqui, para não cortar também o papo, mas quero agradecer a todo mundo que mandou aqui no chat aqui as mensagens pra gente. Ajuda muito, assim, fico muito feliz, assim, de ter a galera participando aqui. O Matheus pergunta, né? Tiago, se não for incômodo, poderia traduzir ou resumir a fala do Ferro? Então, vai ser legendado esse vídeo inteiro. Eu vou botar a legenda nesse vídeo, ok, moçada? Então, para a galera que está assistindo, esse vídeo vai ficar legendado no YouTube. Ele vai ser legendado, depois vai ter legenda para todo mundo poder acompanhar, ok? Maravilha. Bom, pessoal, deixa eu ver aqui se ele vai conectar aqui. Mandar aqui um salve. Agora é uma hora que, se alguém quiser mandar a pergunta, tá tudo certo. Pode mandar. Que legal, moçada. Aqui o Gustavo, bota o Adrian no Bass Day. Pô, vou perguntar para ele. De repente, vai que rola. Não é má ideia, não. Então, pessoal, vou fazer o seguinte, ó. Aqui, ó, tio Fefe, Féfilos, meu irmãozão. Pô, obrigado, Fefe. Que alegria, cara. Pô, aqui, ó, o Daniel, que aula essa live. Poxa, muito obrigado, cara. Foi... O Dani pergunta aqui, ó, a importância do inglês para os músicos. Cara, na verdade é comunicação. É tão bom poder sentar e conversar com um cara bacana. Uma coisa muito legal, assim, o mesmo respeito que eu tenho pela música e pelo ser humano, né, ele tem comigo, assim, eu admiro a música do cara, aprendi com ele e vice-versa, ele aprendeu comigo e admira a minha música. Então essa troca eu acho fundamental. Sabe, a gente pode se comunicar num idioma que não é o idioma do país dele, ele é francês, mas fala inglês. Eu sou brasileiro e falo inglês, então o inglês conecta a gente nesse sentido, então é importante por isso, né? Pessoal, eu vou fazer o seguinte, então, eu tô achando que ele não conseguiu conectar, tô com essa impressão aqui, mas eu quero agradecer, pô, a gente teve 1h30 de papo aqui, foi incrível ter essa oportunidade de bater esse papo com ele, e com certeza a gente vai marcar mais uma live aí, em breve, porque foi muito bom, assim, foi um aprendizado muito grande para todos, muito legal. Isso daí foi muito legal mesmo de poder dividir, passar esse tempo aqui com o Adrian Ferro. Gente, então lembrando, você que está assistindo aqui, esse é o Thiago Talk Show. Se inscreve lá no meu canal do YouTube, fortalece aí, galera, vamos dar essa força aqui pro seu amigo que está produzindo conteúdo para vocês. Tem também o Superchat, quem quiser dar uma moral para mim, é só lá fazer a sua doação aqui no Superchat, eu agradeço. E quem quiser estudar comigo, tem o meu site com todos os métodos, tem o Mentoria Musical, tem o curso de grooves brasileiros, tem um monte de coisa, tem o Bass Day que vai rolar agora no sábado, a primeira edição. E é isso, gente. Agora eu vou cuidar da família que está aqui falando. Segunda-feira vai rolar um papo incrível. Aqui também no Thiago Talk Show. Meu convidado vai ser o gaitista Maurício Einhorn. Que alegria. Vai ser um papo maravilhoso com o Maurício. Sou muito fã dele. E é isso aí, pessoal. Eu quero agradecer a todos que assistiram essa live aqui. Foi um prazer conversar com o Adrian Ferro, esse super baixista, cara da pesada, altíssimo nível, que já tocou, porra, com todo mundo. Não acredito, o cara voltou. Aê, que coisa boa. Ok. You're back, man.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfect.
Man, I'm gonna, but I'm sorry about, I had like battery problems and connection problems now.
No problem. I was just saying goodbye to audience like I would imagine, but it's okay. But it's good. It's great because I would like to thank you so much, Adrian, for had the opportunity to share knowledge and life experience and talk about music, and that's really, really important. And I was telling the people that there's so many. Let me show you here the behind the scenes. Like I got you and a lot of messages from Facebook and YouTube page.
Sweet, man.
So,
I'm so glad.
People is asking
Thank you so much, man.
About scales and rhythms and patterns. What do you think? And I told them that's you can practice at home. The most important, and how the opportunity I had to learn and to share knowledge is most important. And the way I most learned in my life was when I had time with musicians to talk about life and about the way they see life and they live their lives. Because if you want to be a musician, you have to live as a musician and to see how important it is to get your mind in the right spot. With the time, of course, we have to practice, learn, develop many things, but the way you see the music in your life is most important, I think.
That comes on its own. Like, you by loving music, you'll become to live that lifestyle, and mindset. So everything happens. It's just, you just have to know to have the vision of what you want to do and who you want to be. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Anyways, man.
Because sometimes I remember I was feeling that I was alone is lonely. Sometimes the road, but it's okay. That's not a bad thing, because sometimes you're alone, and then you get some people that are doing the same thing, and then you cross the paths, the ways, and then you do a project together, do music, concerts,
Of course.
tour, and then you go to other things. And so that's the great part of being a musician. It's fun.
Everything happens alone. That practice and that mindset that you create, you got to be on your own. Yeah, man.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Adrian. I would like to thank you for sharing with us your knowledge and spend some time with us. Thank you. And hopefully
man.
soon
Thank
we
you.
get together to make music after this social reclusion of this pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
And as soon as possible, so we can get back to stage, to sound checks and
Right. No, I know. It's crazy times. Yeah. I hope we'll do music together, man, soon. Thank you for having me.
Okay, thank you. Take care, my friend.
Thank you so much, man.
Bye-bye.
Take care. You too,
You
bro.
too.
Be safe.
You too.